Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe.
Palestine's detailed history. From prehistoric times to the present, one prehistoric and ancient Canaan, circa 10,000 BCE to 1200 BCE Neolithic era. From around 10,000 BCE, this region transitioned from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural-based one. Among the world's oldest cities, Jericho, circa 8,000 BCE, was established during this period, with strong defensive walls and towers found. The Natufian culture developed during this time. Copper and Bronze Ages, the use of metals began. Due to its position between the great civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia, the region became an important hub for trade and cultural exchange. The Canaanites, a Semitic-speaking people, established small city-states such as Megiddo, Lachish, Hassor. Egyptian pharaohs often exerted dominance over the region, as evidenced in the Amarna letters, circa 1350 BCE. The Canaanites had their own religion, culture, and writing system. Second Iron Age, Philistines, Israelites, and neighboring powers, circa 1200 BCE, 586 BCE. Sea Peoples and Philistines. Around 1200 BCE, with the collapse of the Bronze Age, various groups known as the Sea Peoples began arriving in the eastern Mediterranean. One of these groups, the Philistines, likely from the Aegean or Crete, established powerful city-states on the southern coast: Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Gath, Ekron, collectively known as the Pentapolis. They were skilled in ironworking. Their conflict with the Israelites is well documented in the Bible. The name Palestine originates from them. Tree, the Israelite arrival and kingdom formation. Around the same time, the Hebrews, Israelites, began settling in the mountainous regions of Canaan. The nature of their arrival, whether through military conquest, peaceful settlement, or emerging from local Canaanites, is debated. According to the Bible, they were initially ruled by judges, and later formed a united monarchy under King Saul, David, and Solomon, circa 1050 to 930 BCE. King David conquered Jerusalem and made it the capital, and King Solomon built the first temple there. Divided kingdom. After Solomon's death, the kingdom split into the northern Israelite kingdom, with Samaria as the capital, and the southern Judah kingdom, with Jerusalem as the capital. These two kingdoms often engaged in both conflict and alliances, and were involved in wars with neighboring powers: Arameans, Philistines, Moabites, Ammonites. Assyrian conquest. The powerful Neo-Assyrian Empire gradually dominated the region. Around 722 BCE, the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, sending many of its inhabitants into exile. The concept of the 10 lost tribes originates here. The Judah kingdom became a vassal state. Babylonian conquest and the first exile. Following the Assyrian Empire's fall, the Neo-Babylonian Empire emerged as the dominant power. When Judah rebelled, King Nebuchadnezzar II launched multiple attacks. In 587/586 BCE, he destroyed Jerusalem, burned the first temple, and exiled the Jewish elite and many common people to Babylon, the Babylonian exile. This event was pivotal in Jewish history, deeply affecting their religious and cultural life. Third Persian, Hellenistic, and Hasmonean period, 586 BCE, 63 BCE. Persian Empire, Achaemenid. In 539 BCE, Persian King Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon. He adopted a policy of religious tolerance and allowed Jews to return to Palestine, then known as Yehud Medinata, or Judah province, and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, the Second Temple, circa 516 BCE. During this period, religious leaders and scribes, such as Ezra and Nehemiah, played crucial roles, and Jewish scriptures, Torah, began to be compiled and canonized. Aramaic became widely used alongside Hebrew. Hellenistic period, Greek rule. In 332 BCE, Macedonian Alexander the Great conquered the Persian Empire, and the region came under Greek influence. After his death, his empire split, and Palestine was ruled first by the Egyptian Ptolemies and later by the Syrian Seleucids, circa 200 BCE. Greek language, philosophy, and lifestyle spread through the region. Hellenization. The Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, was completed during this time. Maccabean revolt and Hasmonean kingdom. In 167 BCE, the Seleucid king Antiochus IV Epiphanes attempted to impose Greek customs and erected a statue of Zeus in the Jerusalem temple, prohibiting Jewish religious practices. In response, Judah Maccabee and his followers launched the Maccabean revolt. They successfully regained the temple and established the independent Hasmonean kingdom, 140 to 63 BCE, where the rulers served as both kings and high priests. Fourth Roman and Byzantine period, 63 BCE, 638 CE. Roman conquest. In 63 BCE, the Roman general Pompey captured Jerusalem, and Palestine became a Roman province. Later, Judea. The Romans appointed local rulers, most famously Herod the Great, 37 BCE, 4 CE, who is known for his extensive building projects, such as expanding the Jerusalem temple and building the fortress of Masada. According to the New Testament, Jesus Christ was born during his reign. Jesus and the rise of Christianity. Jesus' life, teachings, crucifixion, and resurrection, circa 30 to 33 CE, took place in Palestine, mainly in the Galilee and Judea regions. His followers spread Christianity throughout the Roman Empire. Jewish-Roman wars. Jewish dissatisfaction with Roman rule led to two major revolts. First Jewish-Roman War, 66 to 73 CE. After intense fighting, Roman General Titus captured and destroyed Jerusalem in 70 CE, burning the Second Temple, leaving only the Western Wall. The fall of the fortress of Masada in 73-74 CE marked the end of the conflict. This war shifted Jewish religious focus from the temple to synagogues and rabbinic teachings, Rabbinic Judaism. Bar Kokhba Revolt, 132 to 135/136 CE. This revolt, led by Simon Bar Kokhba, was sparked by Roman Emperor Hadrian's policies, including the building of a Roman temple in Jerusalem and banning circumcision. The revolt was brutally suppressed, and Hadrian renamed Jerusalem Aelia Capitolina and banned Jews from entering. The region was renamed Syria-Palestina to erase Jewish ties to the land. This event marked the start of the Jewish diaspora, exile, although some Jewish communities continued in regions like Galilee. Byzantine period, circa 324 to 638 CE. After Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity, 324 CE, Palestine became a major center of Christianity. Constantine's mother Helena traveled to Palestine and initiated the construction of churches at significant Christian sites, e.g., the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Church of the Nativity. Fifth Islamic and Crusader period, 638 CE to 1291 CE. Early Islamic period. In 638 CE, the Byzantine Empire was defeated by the Rashidun Caliphate, and Palestine came under Muslim rule. The Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab peacefully entered Jerusalem, and Jews and Christians were granted religious freedom, with the Church of the Holy Sepulchre remaining in Christian hands. Jerusalem became a significant city in the Muslim world. The Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque were built during the Umayyad Caliphate, 661 to 750 CE, further solidifying Jerusalem's importance in Islam. Abbasid and Fatimid rule. During the Abbasid Caliphate, 750 to 1258 CE, Palestine remained under Muslim rule, but the region was administratively less significant. In the 10th century, the Fatimid Caliphate took control, further strengthening the region's ties to the broader Islamic world. Crusades and Christian rule. In 1099, European Christian crusaders, aiming to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslims, captured the city during the First Crusade. The Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem was established, and the Crusaders controlled the city for nearly a century. The period was marked by significant religious and cultural conflicts, as well as the massacre of Jews and Muslims in Jerusalem by Crusader forces. Muslim reconquest. In 1187, the famous Muslim leader Saladin reconquered Jerusalem, restoring it to Muslim control. Saladin's victory was significant in the history of the Crusades, and Jerusalem remained under Muslim rule for the next several centuries. 6. Ottoman Empire and British Mandate, 1517 CE, 1948 CE. Ottoman Empire, 1517-1917. Palestine became part of the Ottoman Empire in 1517. During the Ottoman period, the region was relatively peaceful and stable, though it was part of a much larger empire that spanned across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. The Ottoman authorities generally allowed religious communities to govern themselves under a system known as millet, giving Jewish, Christian, and Muslim communities a certain degree of autonomy. The British Mandate, 1917 to 1948. After World War I and the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Palestine was placed under British control by the League of Nations under a mandate system. The Balfour Declaration of 1917, issued by the British government, expressed support for the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine, creating tensions with the Arab population. During the British Mandate, waves of Jewish immigration to Palestine occurred, leading to clashes between Jews and Arabs over land and political control. The British attempted to mediate, but the tensions between Jews and Arabs intensified. The rise of both Zionism, the movement for the establishment of a Jewish homeland, and Arab nationalism led to further conflict. The British, unable to resolve the dispute, eventually withdrew in 1948, leaving the situation unresolved. 7. The establishment of Israel and ongoing conflict, 1948 CE present. The creation of Israel. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan that divided Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem placed under international control. The Jewish community accepted the plan, but Arab leaders rejected it. On May 14, 1948, as British forces withdrew, David Ben-Gurion, the leader of the Jewish Agency, proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War, War of Independence. Following the declaration of Israel's independence, neighboring Arab states, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, invaded Israel. The war resulted in a victory for Israel, and the territories allocated to the Arab state under the UN plan were divided. Jordan annexed the West Bank, and Egypt controlled the Gaza Strip. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs were displaced or fled during the conflict in what Palestinians call the Nakba, catastrophe. The Palestinian refugee crisis, the displacement of Palestinians during and after the 1948 war, led to a large refugee crisis. Many Palestinians have lived in refugee camps in neighboring countries and in territories such as Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. The Six-Day War, 1967. In June 1967, Israel fought a war with neighboring Arab states and captured several territories: the West Bank, from Jordan, the Gaza Strip, from Egypt, and East Jerusalem. This marked the beginning of Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories. The UN Security Council Resolution 242 called for Israel to withdraw from the territories, but this has remained a point of contention. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. The PLO, founded in 1964, became the leading organization representing the Palestinian people. It advocated for the establishment of a Palestinian state and led armed resistance against Israel. Over time, the PLO shifted towards negotiations, culminating in the Oslo Accords in the 1990s, which established limited Palestinian self-rule in the West Bank and Gaza. The Gaza conflict and the two-state solution, tensions between Israel and Palestinian factions, particularly Hamas, which controls Gaza, have continued through various wars, peace talks, and failed agreements. The idea of a two-state solution, creating an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, has been the basis of many peace proposals, but it remains unfulfilled, with deep divisions remaining on both sides. Current situation. The situation today remains marked by an ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with issues related to borders, refugees, security, and the status of Jerusalem remaining unresolved. Attempts at peace have largely stalled, and the situation continues to be a source of tension in the Middle East and the broader international community. This completes the overview of Palestine's history from its ancient roots to the present conflict. Would you like to continue with any specific part of this history or need further details on any topic? 8. Modern Palestinian struggle and international dynamics, late 20th century present. The Intifadas, 1987-2005. First Intifada, 1987-1993. In December 1987, Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip began an uprising, known as the First Intifada. The uprising was triggered by widespread frustration over Israeli occupation, settlement expansion, and restrictions on Palestinian movement. This popular resistance was characterized by protests, civil disobedience, and violent clashes. The Palestinian Authority, PA, was formed in 1994 following the Oslo Accords, which were intended to lay the groundwork for a Palestinian state, but the agreement failed to address key issues like Jerusalem, refugees, and borders. Second Intifada, 2000 to 2005. The Second Intifada, also called the Al-Aqsa Intifada, erupted in September 2000 after the failure of the Camp David summit and the provocative visit of Israeli leader Ariel Sharon to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The violence was much more intense than the first, with suicide bombings, Israeli military incursions, and widespread destruction. This period marked a significant deterioration in relations between Israelis and Palestinians, and the hopes for peace were severely diminished. Rise of Hamas and political division. Hamas's ascendancy. In 2006, Hamas, an Islamist militant group, won the Palestinian Legislative Council elections in Gaza, leading to a power struggle between Hamas and the Fatah-led Palestinian Authority, PA, in the West Bank. In 2007, Hamas took control of Gaza after violent clashes with Fatah forces, effectively splitting the Palestinian territories into two: the West Bank under the PA and the Gaza Strip under Hamas control. Gaza conflicts. Since Hamas took control of Gaza, the region has witnessed several wars between Hamas and Israel, including major conflicts in 2008 to 2009, 2012, 2014, and more recently in 2021. These wars have led to significant civilian casualties, destruction, and a worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Peace process and stalemate. Oslo Accords and peace talks. The Oslo Accords, 1993, were a pivotal moment in the peace process, with mutual recognition between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. However, key issues such as the final status of Jerusalem, borders, refugees, and security were left unresolved, leading to the eventual collapse of the peace process. The two-state solution. The two-state solution, the idea of creating a sovereign Palestinian state alongside Israel, has been the foundation of most peace proposals. However, settlement expansion in the West Bank and political divisions among Palestinians have made it increasingly difficult to reach a lasting peace agreement. International involvement and recognition. International recognition of Palestine. Over time, the international community has become more involved in the Palestinian issue. Many countries and international organizations, including the United Nations, have recognized the State of Palestine. In 2012, the UN General Assembly granted Palestine non-member observer state status, though it has not been recognized as a full UN member state. Role of regional powers. Countries like Egypt, Jordan, Iran, and Turkey have played varying roles in Palestinian politics, often supporting the Palestinian cause. However, regional power dynamics and shifting alliances, especially with Israel, have complicated the peace process. Additionally, the Arab Spring and the rise of Islamist movements in the Middle East have altered the landscape for Palestinian politics. 9. The contemporary situation and key issues. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Today, ongoing tensions and violence. The conflict continues to be marked by violence, with frequent flare-ups between Israel and Palestinian groups, especially in Gaza. While some ceasefires have been brokered, they tend to be short-lived, with tensions often reigniting due to Israeli military operations, Hamas rocket attacks, or actions in Jerusalem. West Bank settlements and occupation. Israeli settlements in the West Bank remain a contentious issue. The expansion of these settlements is considered illegal under international law by most of the international community. Though Israel disputes this, the ongoing occupation of Palestinian territories, especially East Jerusalem, continues to be a source of friction and frustration for Palestinians. Humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Gaza remains one of the most densely populated and impoverished areas in the world. The blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt since 2007, combined with internal political strife and recurring conflicts, has created a dire humanitarian situation. Many Palestinians in Gaza live without access to basic services, including clean water, electricity, and adequate health care. Palestinian political landscape. Division between Fatah and Hamas. The internal political divide between Fatah and Hamas continues to undermine Palestinian unity and complicate efforts to negotiate with Israel. While Fatah governs the West Bank through the Palestinian Authority, Hamas controls Gaza. Attempts at reconciliation between the two factions have failed repeatedly, and the political split continues to hinder efforts to create a cohesive strategy for Palestinian statehood. Young Palestinians and changing perspectives. The younger generation of Palestinians, many of whom were born after the Oslo Accords, is increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress and the ongoing occupation. There is growing disillusionment with both the Palestinian leadership and the Israeli government. Some are advocating for a one-state solution, while others continue to push for a two-state solution. Jerusalem as a core issue. Status of Jerusalem. Jerusalem remains one of the most sensitive and contested issues in the country. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim Jerusalem as the capital, and the city's religious significance to Jews, Muslims, and Christians adds to its complexity. In 2017, the United States under President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, sparking protests and condemnation from Palestinians and many international bodies. The role of the international community. Global involvement. The international community remains deeply divided over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While many countries, especially in the Arab world, have supported Palestinian statehood, others have strengthened ties with Israel, particularly in the wake of normalization agreements like the Abraham Accords between Israel and several Arab states in 2020. United Nations and peace initiatives. The UN continues to pass resolutions in support of Palestinian rights and condemns Israeli actions in occupied territories, but its resolutions often face vetoes in the UN Security Council, primarily from the United States. Other international organizations, such as the European Union, have tried to mediate peace talks, but their efforts have had limited success. Conclusion: the future of Palestine and Israel. The future of Palestine and Israel remains uncertain. Despite numerous attempts at peace and diplomacy, a lasting resolution to the conflict remains elusive. The core issues, such as the establishment of a Palestinian state, the status of Jerusalem, refugee rights, and security concerns, remain unresolved. The region's future depends on the willingness of both Israelis and Palestinians to engage in meaningful negotiations, and on the role of the international community in facilitating a just and lasting peace. Would you like to delve into any of these topics in more detail? Or would you like further clarification on any aspect of this complex history?